what I think is important to have a conversation around is, what do you have in your retirement portfolio that's guaranteed, and what do you have in your portfolio that's completely independent of the market? That's a conversation that needs to be had a lot more, because we've seen what having all market-based investments or retirement accounts has the effect of that in the past. And we can mitigate a lot of risk by layering in guaranteed income strategies to our retirement, creating a paycheck that lasts for the rest of our lives. And now you may ask, well, how do you actually create a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of your life? And it's by using annuities. So if you're not sure what an annuity is, it's essentially, to keep it very simple, you're trading a lump sum of cash or giving a lump sum of cash to an insurance carrier, and in turn, they're going to give you a paycheck for the rest of your life. And the payout factor is different for everyone, but as of recording this right now, I mean, I've been seeing some pretty high payout factors. Like, I'm working with a lady right now who's 62 years old, and she wants to retire at 67 years old. And when she goes to retire at 67 years old, she has a guaranteed payout factor of 7.2%. Meaning, if she, for easy numbers, if she put in $1 million into an annuity, the insurance carrier is going to guarantee her a payout factor of 7.2% for the rest of her life, which is $72,000 a year for the rest of her life. So even when she gets to the point where she completely depleted the $1 million she gave to the insurance carrier, she's still going to receive a $72,000 payout every single year. And that's the power of annuities, is the insurance carriers taking on all of the risk when you transfer this money over to them, because they have to make sure that they're investing that money wisely and getting enough return on that money to be able to pay out that guaranteed rate of, in this case, 7.2%, which equates to $72,000. And the other thing that they have to fulfill is, even when you deplete the amount of money you gave them, they still are obligated to pay that guaranteed rate to you. And that's the one thing you have to know about the insurance carriers and annuities, is they don't want you to live very long. You know, and I try to make light of this because they are guaranteed and they're on the hook to give you that check every single year. So they want you to kick the can as soon as possible. But the longer you live, the more money you can extract from an annuity on a guaranteed basis. So it's very, very powerful, because and now tying it into market-based investments or market-based retirement accounts, if you have a down year, or let's say the first year you go to retire, the market drops 20% and you have $1 million in your 401k. Well, instead of drawing income from your 401k when the market's down, if you prior set up an annuity that gives you an income stream, a guaranteed income stream, a guaranteed paycheck that's enough to cover your lifestyle, that is such a fantastic position to be in, because when the market's down, you don't have to tap into your market-based retirement account. You can just let it be, let the markets do its thing and recover over time. Meanwhile, you know, I'm getting a check every single year that's enough to cover my lifestyle, and I don't have to tap into that money over there. So that's the power of having a guaranteed check for the rest of your life, is because you don't need to base your lifestyle, your way of living, off of the other retirement accounts you may have. Okay, that's just so important to wrap your brain around. And another thing to layer in too is Social Security. So you have a guaranteed check from an annuity or annuities, depending on the scenario. And then you also have Social Security coming in. So that's powerful. If you can design your lifestyle around guaranteed income, it just gives you way more peace of mind knowing I am good. If my 401k, or rather the stock market's down, it's not performing the way I thought it would in retirement, I'm still good because I have guaranteed money coming in that's enough to cover my lifestyle. Okay, and that is just such a good feeling. And again, I'm not talking about removing 401ks, IRAs, and transferring all that money over to guaranteed income. That's not what I'm talking about at all, nor I think that's quite foolish to do that, quite frankly. I think having a diversified retirement portfolio is really important. You need to have equities, you need to have guaranteed retirement income. I think they both go hand in hand, and both are equally as important. They solve their different purposes. But the one thing that's missing from most people's retirement accounts is layering in that guaranteed check that lasts forever for the rest of your life. And especially if you're married too, there's different ways, different annuities you can set up where they're joint life annuities, meaning you and your spouse will get a paycheck for the rest of your life. So let's say it's you and your spouse. When one of you passes, the other is still going to receive a guaranteed check until they pass away. So there's many, many different types of annuities out there. They're definitely not for everyone, and there's not one that's a one size fits all. Everyone's scenario is different. That's why it's so important to have conversations around your exact scenario to figure out which ones make sense and how could you actually layer them in properly to your retirement portfolio.